Trust, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on your news leader, Hannah Devonzo is live from Superior Court with the latest on the trial of Rudy Kanata, accused of murder. Get ready, because not only are we paying more at the pump, but we could be paying more for power. And in Decision 2022, Senator James Moylan officially announces his candidacy for Congress. We've got these stories and more right here and right now on Primetime.
Hafa and good evening, everyone. Guahusi Isaiah again, and welcome to KUAM News Primetime. Thank you for joining us. Facing murder charges, the trial of Rudy Kanata got underway today, and joining us live from the island's capital with the latest is KUAM's Hannah Devonzo. Good evening, Hannah.
The trial got off to an interesting start today, as the defense is making the case that Rudy Kanata is innocent and that Joyner Sked acted alone in the murder of the former Umatic mayor. Opening statements were underway in Superior Court on Thursday during Rudy Kanata's trial. He's one of the accused in the murder of the former Umatic mayor Daniel Sanchez. He was found dead with 23 stab wounds inside of Kanata's home last April. Joyner Sked, the other accused, was found guilty by the jury last month. She still claims she's innocent and that her boyfriend Kanata is fully responsible. Kanata is represented by defense attorney Peter Santos.
Ladies and gentlemen, pay close attention. You're going to hear evidence about Joyner Sked being a psychopath.
Santos claims Sked alone stabbed and killed the mayor and that Kanata ran away in fear.
Joyner had issues, problems. There was a pattern of the men she was with that she would abuse them. There will be witnesses and documentary evidence that about 5 months prior to the unfortunate passing of Mr. Daniel Sanchez, Rudy had gone to the authorities and requested a restraining order.
He claims authorities did not take Kanata's request seriously.
When you went to get a restraining order, they judged the book by its cover again. And the authority said, come on, you scared of her? What are you scared of? He said, I think she's gonna kill me.
Prosecuting the case is attorney Leonardo Rapadas.
We are here today because that man, Rudy Fregeger Kanata, killed Daniel Kanata Sanchez the very early part of April 2021, last year. He was apparently bludgeoned and stabbed to death. Both a hammer and a pair of scissors were found next to his body.
The first government witness to take the stand today was Rudy Kanata's own sister, Dorothea Santiago, who witnessed bloodstains by her brother's front door. She became worried and told a neighbor, who then called the police. Following the police arrival, they found the life body of Daniel Sanchez inside. The trial will continue tomorrow at 8 a.m. in Superior Court, where more government witnesses are scheduled to take the stand. Reporting live for KUAM News, I'm Hannah Devonzo.
Hannah Devonzo, thank you for that live report from Hagåtña, Guam. The latest court ruling was issued today in the long-running clergy sexual abuse case. It states that, contrary to the Archdiocese's argument, local Catholic parishes and schools are part of its corporation's soul and thus are not immune from bankruptcy proceedings. KUAM's Nestor Lecanto reports.
In her decision and order, the key finding by District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood was that Guam Catholic parishes and schools are all part of the Archbishop's corporation, and it even says so in the Articles of Incorporation that the Archbishop is, quote, entitled to and has control over any and all property, real, personal, or mixed. The court goes on to write that, quote, the defendant's own conduct supports this. Although the parishes and schools administer and manage their day-to-day affairs, the Archbishop remains responsible for overseeing them. For example, the parishes must seek permission for any financial transaction in excess of $25,000, and the Archbishop must sign for any loans. The church had argued that the parishes and schools were actually an implied trust and that the property was transferred to the Archbishop, who was holding it for the benefit of another entity, and the property can jump back. But Judge Gatewood rejected the argument, stating that the testimony was consistent throughout the 7-day trial, that the parishes and schools are in fact one body with the Archdiocese. It's not clear which parishes and schools may be impacted, although the court decision does mention that prior to the bankruptcy filing, the Archdiocese formed a committee tasked with designating non-essential assets for possible payments to sex abuse claimants, and that this included the parishes and schools. Finally, the court pointed out the testimony of abuse victim Mr. Leo Tudela that she said was of particular importance that created a profound moment. Judge Gatewood said it was 2 simple words that needed to be said to acknowledge the decades of pain and to start the healing process. The 2 words were, I'm sorry. For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
After searching for more than 2 hours, the body of a 50-year-old woman was pulled out of the waters of the Tagatsing Beach Park at around 5:17 this morning. Guam Fire Department spokesperson Kevin Riley says rescue units were dispatched just after 3 a.m. after receiving a report of a missing swimmer. The woman was found 150 meters outside the reef. The average residential power rate could go up by as much as $23 starting as early as next month. Citing soaring fuel costs, GPA General Manager John Beneventi presented scenarios for a possible increase in the fuel surcharge known as the LIAC. He told members of the CCU during a work session today that if they want another month until May, then the average residential rate could go up by $33. But CCU Chairman Joey Duenas said GPA may have little choice because they are still $30 million short in their fuel recovery costs.
And then what we did is we said we're going to help with this balance, and what we did is we took $10 million from the self-insurance fund and we got the governor to give us $15 million to hold the line, and we were going to bring that under recovery down. Unfortunately, we now have a war going on that's raging on and it's kicked the price way up, and so now the picture's going back again, but we've already taken from some different pots. We've done some good moves. There's not a lot of good moves left, unfortunately.
Manager Beneventi said holding the rates down longer is still a possibility, as the CCU isn't expected to vote on a possible LIAC adjustment until its regular monthly meeting next week. An increase would still have to be approved by the PUC. Facing more than $25 million in fines, instead of Samsung will have to pay only $300,000, according to GLB Executive Director Linda Ibanez. Samsung offered to pay $250,000, but the board finalized the fine at the higher amount. More than a year ago, the company contracted to build a solar farm in Manila, was cited by Guam EPA and other regulatory agencies for the environmental damage in the Saison area, including turning Marble Cave into a mud pit. The company failed to implement their required and approved sediment and erosion control plans. The AG's office has also filed a lawsuit against the company. And turning to Decision 2022, the first person out the gate to announce their candidacy for Congress is Senator James Moylan. With more is KUAM's Tyler Matanani.
Flanked by family, friends, and party leaders, Republican Senator James Moylan filed his paperwork to run for Washington delegate at the Guam Election Commission Thursday morning.
I have the spirit and the ability to what I've learned in the 35th and the 36th Guam legislature. That's collaboration with your colleagues to understand and get the message across, to carry the message of Guam onto Washington, D.C. And what's important to get that collaboration going is the relationships that you build.
The senator plans to take what he's learned in his 2 terms at the legislature to the floor of Congress.
I have been transparent to the people of Guam. I don't back away from all these microphones standing in front of me, that's for sure. And most importantly, I've taken action since day one as well. So you can trust me that if God willing and the people of Guam vote for me, that's what I'm going to do in Washington, D.C., to represent the interests of the people of Guam to our nation's capital.
His announcement follows a recently personally funded trip to D.C., which he said was critical to complement the efforts of Congressman Michael San Nicolas and others to help with Guam's recovery. The Republican lawmaker met with several other territorial delegates and members and the inequitable treatment of island veterans, but also about the impacts of free association. He also responded to speculation that his reason for running was based on a potential gubernatorial run of Congressman San Nicolas.
Well, first, the decision was made for this position because I talked to my family. Over the phones, my girls are in the States, and we discussed that. I talked to my friends, many of them are here today, and we discussed that opportunity too. And most importantly, I talked to my team, are we ready to do this? And every one of them said yes. And that's what I based my decision on.
The senator, however, also said he had a private conversation with San Nicolas.
I'm going to leave it at that.
It's not clear whether he will be running unopposed within the GOP. Currently, no Democrat has announced their candidacy for Congress. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
Still to come on Your News Leader, today's public health briefing details the decline in COVID cases. These stories and more when primetime returns.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Oh!
Jack, this is incredible. How do you...
I started with my famous toasted sourdough, 2 melty cheeses, and grilled onions, all on 100% beef.
Jack, we were talking about the room.
Yeah,
just the room. Yeah.
My sourdough patty melt combos. Order on the Jack app today.
Half a day. Gas prices continue to rise, and we are here to help. We have revised Programang Salapi to provide a $300 direct cash assistance payment to most households. We've expanded income eligibility so more families will benefit.
We've heard your struggles, and we hope this relief will help during these difficult times. The Department of Administration will begin accepting applications on Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. For more information, visit doa.guam.gov.
This ad is paid for by the Office of the Governor using government funds.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
When the pandemic first started and we had no idea that it was going to affect our business till March of 2020. Orders from public health, roadblocks, restriction. It was a very hard time for me. What really has saved my business is the SBA and the PPP program. I felt keeping the employees was so important because I had faith that my government would help me later, the federal government. We applied and we received 2 PPP loans equaling up to $425,000. That money saved me because it's been 2 years. I think 80 or 90% of the restaurants have closed. The only reason I'm here because of my devoted clientele and the federal government.
Thank you for helping save jobs with federal funds.
Thank you to the federal government for all the federal ARP money.
Thank you for the federal funds.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the Office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Let us know what's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the CNMI, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Welcome back to Your News Leader. The decrease in COVID cases continues, with the island seeing less than 100 per day. COVID testing is now at less than 1,000 a day, along with the drop in test positivity now being below 20%. Public Health Territorial Epidemiologist Dr. Ann Pobutsky.
Declining cases by age, as you can see, it's all converging, even though we are still seeing cases. This is a good sign. It's becoming more uniform across the age groups, nothing like the peaks we were seeing before.
Lead epidemiologist Dr. Annette David gave an update on Guam's COVID status using the CDC community risk metric. As reported, if the island has 200 or more new cases per 100,000 population over the past 7 days, we are categorized as being in the high transmission category. Last week, the island was averaging 644 new cases over the past 7 days.
7-day total case rate has gone down to 385. So again, the cutoff is 200. We're still above 200.
Dr. David added at the speed the transmission rate is falling that by the end of next week, the island might transition to the low-risk category. Only 3 people are isolating at the government's alternate lodging facility at the Garden Court in Tumon. The LTFAC is for COVID-positive residents who meet certain criteria. Not only do you have to show a positive test result, but also must not need hospitalization and be able to care for yourself. In order to be eligible, you must also not have close contact with a family living in your home during their initial infectious period. Minors must be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. For more information, call 311 option 1. The Guam Election Commission's Board of Directors hosted a meeting this afternoon. GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan listed today's agenda.
We will update the board with several bills that have been introduced and update them on the status of the 2 bills that were passed by the legislature. One was vetoed by the governor and the other was passed. So those 2 bills were anyway supposed to be effective 2023. We will also discuss the election early voting center. The deadline for the request for letters of interest is today. We will let them know if anybody submitted any. We will discuss also our election timeline. How many voters we have, how many registrars we have.
Additionally, the board discussed the annual required evaluation of the executive director. Meanwhile, Pangilinan also noted GEC is in touch with the Office of Budget and Finances Committee Chair Senator Joseph Augustine about the supplemental bill and when that will be introduced. GEC hopes to receive about $602,000 to cover elections for Decision 2022. Over in the Northern Marianas, major developments on the Senate impeachment trial of Governor Ralph Torres. The House Speaker rejects the Senate's rules, saying that they violate the CNMI Constitution and proposes a team of lawmakers to prosecute the case instead. KUAM regional correspondent Tomas Manglotnya reports.
It appears the House is throwing the Senate's impeachment rulebook out the window. Up against the Senate's imposed 4 p.m. deadline for the House to name its prosecutor in the trial of Governor Ralph Torres, House Speaker Edmund Villagomez slammed the Senate for rules that he says violate the NMI Constitution. Instead, he says the House prefers that Representatives Selena Babauta, Donald Manglotnya, Karina Magofnia, Leila Staffler, and Vice Speaker BJ Ataw prosecute the case as a team. According to the Senate's rules, the impeachment prosecutor would be just one person, starting first with the Speaker himself. And if he denies it or is not capable of it, then the House Impeachment Committee chair would prosecute. And if they deny the appointment, it would be up to the Senate President, Jude Hofschneider, to hand-select a lawmaker. Tonight, Villagomez choosing none of the above. Villagomez highlighted several key flashpoints, echoing the concerns expressed by lawmakers themselves in public comments on the Senate floor. Democrats say the rulebook creates an unfair playing field, giving an advantage to the impeached official when it comes to representation and deliberation. He says the current rules deny the House and Legislative Bureau their constitutional right to perform their duties fairly and reasonably, as outlined in the NMI Constitution. The Speaker also accuses the Senate of violating the Open Government Act after the rules were not published prior to its adoption. However, Villagomez wants to find common ground and says the impeachment process should be seen as fair and reasonable. He says that's now up to the Senate. Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News.
KUAM has reached out to the Senate for comment. The Department of State says that China continues to have an ambiguous stance on the unjustified Russian invasion of Ukraine. Concern is mounting as military officials warn of heightened readiness and tensions in the Indo-Pacific region that could be further triggered by the war.
We've made very clear to the PRC that we have significant concerns in that any effort to compensate Russia for its financial losses, for the economic toll, or, of course, any effort to supply, to provide materiel for Russia's war effort, that would be met with significant costs, not only from the United States, but from our allies and partners around the world.
He says that message has been conveyed directly, and the Department of State will not characterize any response from China. Senators have set the agenda for the March legislative session. Included is a measure by Senator Joe San Augustine that would authorize the construction of a diesel generator at the Old Cabra site in Petey. There was some controversy during the public hearing because the unit would be located within 1,200 feet of Jose Rios Middle School, so the measures provides an exemption. Also on the agenda is a measure by Senator Frank Blosh Jr. to appropriate $250,000 to the Valley of the Ladi for the construction of a Chamorro Cultural Center. And senators will also be discussing Senator Tello Taitagui's bill that establishes the business license requirements for businesses that place children in adoptive homes. A potential program for public high school students hopes to assist with credit recovery and encourages students to get actively involved in school clubs. As an incentive, they can earn up to 1 full credit. Here's more.
On behalf of the 33rd Guam Youth Congress, Senator Amanda Shelton recently introduced the Club for Credit Program Act of 2021. It aims to assist with credit recovery for Guam public high school students who struggle during the ongoing global COVID-19 pandemic. Stephanie Lorenzo is a speaker for the 33rd Guam Youth Congress.
We introduced the Club for Credit Act of 2021, and that bill is basically to help bridge the gap for those students that experienced credit loss during the pandemic while they had to, shift to online learning or distance learning.
The program will be under the Guam Department of Education. The student failure rate at GDOE increased during the COVID pandemic, ranging from 30 to 40%. Pre-COVID, it was at just 25%. Lorenzo cited how the program would work if passed into law.
Let's say a student is in DECA. DECA is known for the marketing club within the schools. And so if a student is in DECA and they are an active member of the club, meaning, they attend the meetings, they participate in the services, they help with the outreach. If this bill is implemented, then that student who is a part of DECA will receive either 0.5 or the 1 full credit towards their, marketing elective.
Students will need to complete at least 120 hours with a club or 2 in order to obtain a full credit. About 60 hours with a club can earn up to half a credit. Additionally, Lorenzo shared that hopefully this program will incentivize students to join a school club.
This really will help students want to be more active within their school and within their school community. Clubs are a really great avenue and opportunity for our youth to gain valuable networking skills. They can develop character, leadership skills, that they learn how to compromise.
Lorenzo noted a student can only earn a maximum of 1 full credit from the program. If passed, the program will go into effect school year 2024 to 2025. Reporting for KUAM News, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
Stay tuned. Up next, Dave Delgado with your roundup of local sports, and you're watching KUAM News.
We all start somewhere. We start with the day. We start with him. We start with family. We start with a lesson. And the perfect wave. We start here and here. We start at your office and your home. We start with the connections that matter the most, the ones that move us, change us, inspire us. In an ever-expanding world, personal connections are what tie everything together, what ties us together. We all start somewhere. At GTA, we start with you.
Hey, Mars, good evening, man.
Good morning.
We like to say we're in the business of opening doors. Since first opening our doors in 1972, our love for our community has driven our legacy of service. We've seen paths to bigger and brighter futures.
So, what are we saving for?
School. We've seen the heart of our people.
You ready for this? Yeah.
We've seen our communities come together to help one another. We've seen passion become successful business plans. We've seen generations of families grow with us.
Wow, that was easy. Wow.
And when we think of all the doors we helped to open, we can't help but be reminded of the reason we're still here today. Our people.
Half a day.
Hi.
That will be $20, please.
I forgot my Mobile Smiles driver's rewards card.
No worries. You can now use your registered mobile number to earn points.
Can I use my mobile number to redeem rewards?
Sure. Just show us your photo ID or driver's license.
That's easy.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. On this show tonight, women's basketball from the Lady Triton Super League being played at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. Check it out. Activate and Fuetza stepping onto the hardwood for their Week 3 matchup. Demi Shimizu with the pull-up jumper. Angelique Dakane with the turnaround shot just outside the baseline, rolls off the rim. Teammate Barb Paris with the rebound, misses on the second attempt, but the third time's a charm for Fuetza as they picked up the score. April Davis with the assist to Ria Arceo, who finished the game with 4 points. Shea Benez finds Barb Kukendall open in the corner. Barb pulls up from the white line and hits the three. She finished the game with 7 points. Ria Arceo to Ari Arceo for the answer back the other way. Corner three from the white line. Check. Dakane hit for 8 points. Top of the free throw line, Money with the pose at the end. Cha-ching. Fuetza comes from behind for the win, 45-41 to improve to 2-1 in league play. Nani Estoy, 18 in the win. Sin Valena with 15 points in the losing effort. It was all Bombers in the next game against the UOG Tritons. The Lady Bombers used their size to their advantage in the paint to pick up easy scores. Turnovers led to transition buckets as the Bombers used their speed to get to the rim. The Bombers cruised to the 81-20 win to stay undefeated at 2-0. The loss drops the Lady Tritons to 0-3. The Bombers step back onto the court tonight to face Advocate at 6:30, while the 2-1 Fuetza team faces the 1-1 Ballers squad at 8:15. For game schedules and results, check out www.uog.edu/athletics/women's-basketball. On the men's side, the KFC Bombers and MVP Stars lead the list, followed by Team Wu-Tang and Team OG.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Unified Communications, UC, is the next step in a business phone system. Introducing Docomo Pacific UC, your business phone. Instant messaging, video, voicemail, fax, and more. All unified on one platform and delivered through the cloud. Merge your desk phone with your mobile device. Turn voice calls into video conference. UC reduces phone costs. UC boosts productivity. Work better together with Docomo Pacific UC.
Honey, do
you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
It's beautiful.
It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Get it out, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
Ladies, it's time to get glammed up and men get those suits pressed. It's time to party for a cause. Here's KUAM's Tyler Matanani with the details on the upcoming Red Ball.
It's like a coming out party. We're back.
The 20th annual American Red Cross Red Ball is back and bigger than ever, while still following the COVID protocols, of course. American Red Cross Guam Chapter Executive Officer Cheetah Blaze.
We started planning it as an outdoor event.
But the recent lifting of COVID restrictions has since allowed for the max capacity of indoor social gatherings to 100, which means they're taking the festivities back inside, but with a twist.
Those 3 nights are going to be in the lobby of the Hyatt Regency.
Yes, you heard that right. This year's Red Ball will be for 3 nights with 3 different internationally inspired culinary experiences. Chairman of the Guam chapter, Marcus Fong, explains.
We came up with the idea because we wanted to make sure that we maximize the opportunity for us to do the fundraising. In order for us to do that, we needed to separate into 3 days so that we could accommodate the 100 persons per gathering. But it also gave us an opportunity to kind of be a little bit creative.
I think it's going to be grand and exciting.
This year's theme is around the world and will feature Asian cuisine on March 24th, Mediterranean cuisine on March 25th, and European cuisine on March 26th.
It gave the chefs also a lot of creativity and gives our guests a lot of flexibility to kind of try new things. Even if you don't make any of the 3 nights, we have worked out with Hyatt to have the meals available as a take-home option.
Tickets are going quick, so make sure to purchase yours now. For more information, call 671-688-0283 or 688-0280. Email sandra.ramiro or cheetah.blaze@redcross.org or send them a direct message on Facebook or Instagram with your contact information. For KUAM News, I'm Tyler Matanani.
To continue the celebration of Mesh Chamorro, Sagin Katudin Chamorro invites the community to Danana Pulan, a festival of many demonstrations celebrating the Chamorro culture and heritage. Amber Beneventi, the interim director for SKC, listed some of the activities patrons can expect.
House 1, we have Guahan Sustainable Culture. They will be doing some planting demonstrations and giving folks tours of our gardens. Tony Mantanotnia will also be in that area with the Hotnu, and he will be making bread there by the Hotnu, which is located in the back of House 2. House 3 is our Gumado Auntie. So they'll be doing demonstrations with Mama Chai. House 4 is Atumerianis. They'll be doing a sling competition around 3 p.m. that day. And then we have Tomas, who will be doing his weaving workshop, which starts at 11 a.m. and will go on through the day.
The event is scheduled for 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. this Saturday, March 19th at SKC in Tumani. For the complete listing of activities, visit our website at KUAM.com. And it's time of that show where we announce the birthdays with Jason Solis.
Happy birthday on March 17 to Kiyoki Flores, who celebrates birthday number 2. We love you so much, baby boy, and we hope you have a wonderful birthday. Mom, Dad, Kainoa, Malia, and the family are sending all their love. Happy birthday to Patrick Alvarez, who celebrates 5-0 today. Happy 50th birthday from house number 1 and the family. Gavin Bejarana, happy birthday, son. We love you, says your family and friends. Happy birthday number 15 to Daryl Pareto. Happy birthday, Derry. We love you from the entire family. And belated birthday wishes going out to Rashida Flores Manuel, born on the 12th. Happy birthday to my baby, not so baby anymore. To Vegas from Guam, your loving mommy is sending you the very best.
You can be a part of the Coach Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com. And that's going to do it for us here on Primetime this Thursday evening.